Hello, my name is Paweł Nowakowski. I'm the SMEthod project coordinator on behalf of ASM Market Research and Analysis Center. And in this presentation, I would like to talk about our approach in the SMEthod project to segmenting innovative SMEs when it comes to supporting them with appropriate instruments, or as it is called more professionally, about our segmentation methodology. In the project, we combined our expertises from social sciences, econometrics, and IT, and we studied that problem extensively for 30 months. I don't want to bore you here with a definition of innovation, but I would like to point out that there are a few innovation types that are commonly used by different stakeholders. So there is a product innovation that concerns new or improved good or service. So importantly, both goods and services are included here. There is a process innovation that deals with new or significantly improved production or delivery methods. So here it might be, for example, changes in production techniques, significant changes in equipment, in software, etc. There is also a type of innovation that is organizational innovation, and it is related to the implementation of new organizational methods, for example, concerning management structure, team working, or decision-making process. And finally, there is a marketing innovation, which is associated with reaching new markets, developing new marketing strategies, or new positioning of products and services. In SMEthod, we carried out our own fieldwork among European enterprises from our case study countries, so from Finland, Poland, Spain, and the UK. And we have some interesting findings that can be a good starting point when talking about segmentation procedures. In the table, we can see how particular innovations are correlated with various types of funding and with no funding, and the innovations are divided by types that I have just discussed. So as you can see, product innovations were developed mostly with some funding support from the government. However, it also should be noticed that 56% of innovative goods and services were employed with no funding received. So it might be a symptom of a high propensity of some SMEs to innovate regardless of dedicated funding for innovation. When it comes to process innovation, the differences are not that huge as in the case of product innovation. However, we can see that this is the type of innovation that is introduced mostly either without government funding or with both government and non-government funding. Next, organizational innovations. They are introduced, as we can see, mainly using non-government funding or no external funding at all. And similar is the case when it comes to marketing innovations, because they are mostly introduced without any external funding. In this SMEthod project, we also asked our respondents, so SMEs, about the reasons for not introducing a potential innovation. And as you can see marked in red, the most important barriers that have been pointed out by our respondents were lack of resources, then high financial risk, and on the third place, legal and/or bureaucratic barriers. So now, after having introduced you to some of our empirical observations, we can answer the question, what comprises SMEthod's methodology? First of all, our methodology of segmentation is a holistic approach to segmenting SMEs and mainly innovating SMEs for the purposes of an efficient pro-innovative support. Hence, the methodology encompasses a few points that should be discussed. First of all, there are some paradigmatic assumptions, so our basic assumptions when it comes to doing science, to developing our methodology. And actually, we paired up a few approaches from social sciences. Each of those were used in different stages of our methodology development, so we gained from a few paradigms such as hermeneutics, institutionalism, behavioralism, or neopositivism. The next very important step of our methodology development was conceptualization of segmentation. So naturally, when we wanted to build a methodology of segmentation, we had to clearly define what we mean by a segmentation. And in this SMEthod project, we mean grouping, categorizing, or clustering innovative SMEs in order to better guide decision-making process. So this is our basic definition of segmentation, and our approach as such is different from a viewpoint that there should be only one particular scheme of segmentation for identifying the profile of an SME that should be supported with some pro-innovative instruments by an institution. The next important step is selecting our research methods and techniques. And again, as in the case of paradigmatic assumptions, here we used a few different methods and techniques. So first we started from desk research, of course, but we also used analytical and conceptual research, regional research, statistical correlations with econometric models, and specifically latent class analysis for development of our methodology. There are also some economic and socio-cultural assumptions behind our methodology. When it comes to the economic ones, those are the crucial role of SMEs in the European economy, also innovation as a driver of market economy and economic growth and welfare. And what is more, we have been aware that the one-size-fits-all solutions are obsolete. And on the other hand, as regards sociocultural assumptions, we just wanted to develop a framework that would be flexible and adaptable to regional specifics in terms of social characteristics, so that particular institutions can build their innovation policy frameworks upon our approach. And further, we had to specify the criteria and variables for segmenting and evaluating SMEs. But I would like to discuss them in more detail, so I will do it later on and won't be speaking about this now. The SMEthod methodology also enables assigning weights for variables, which is important because it will enable supporting institutions to assign their own weights as they see fit, taking into account different specific characteristics of societies and regions. The next part is distinguishing segments and matching to them the most appropriate instruments of support. This is the core value of our methodology, and we can say, strictly speaking, it's a segmentation procedure. And I will be also talking about this in more detail later on. Finally, another crucial element of SMEthod methodology is model recommended procedure of segmentation and allocating support measures, presented also as a decision support tool. Now, we can say that this SMEthod methodology is twofold, because on the one hand it provides a universal framework, and it also on the other hand provides a regional version. So when it comes to a universal methodology, it comprises universal aspects, so mostly economic ones, and regional criteria, but without weights, because it is ready for adjusting by stakeholders in different specific countries and regions. So the weights should be defined and assigned by particular institutions according to their policy goals and to the social and regional specifics. And as mentioned, there is also a regional version of the methodology, and it comprises the universal elements, so those one we call universal, so mainly economic ones, and also regional aspects that are identified by our experts for particular case study countries, so for Spain, Finland, Poland, and the UK. And they are ready to be tested by supporting agencies in SMEthod's case study countries. Now I would like to present SMEthod's criteria, so the categories and variables that we found instrumental in developing our methodology and that might be said underlie our approach. And the first category is enterprise lifecycle, and here we distinguished a few variables, that is size, age, employment growth, asset value growth, prior innovation, degree of integration between R&D and other functions, departments within the firm, and level of diversification. Another category is innovation cycle. So here the variables are main innovative activities in a firm and enterprises involved in an innovation cycle. Another category is sectors, also very important, and here we distinguish variables as market concentration characteristics of industry represented by a company and life cycle of the industry represented by the company. The fourth category is regions, also very important for SMEthod. So regions have variables like networks for learning, networks for research, and human capital. Of course, all the variables are specifically explained in our reports and in our assumptions. Category socio-cultural values. Here there are quite a few, as you can see, and including, for example, such commonly distinguished like individualism versus collectivism, but also some others like progress, social inclusion, accessibility, natural environment, entrepreneurship, family versus career orientation, etc. And the last category is the other category. So here we distinguished a few variables like past innovation success, so it might be cost reduction, patents, and so on, prior funding, management structure, tertiary education, and external ties that a firm has. To sum up, the above list of categories and specific variables is the one we single out for our methodology. And actually some of them have already been used because they are quite standard, but most of them haven't been used so far. And we believe that innovation support stakeholders could benefit from using them because in this way they could achieve better results in supporting the sector of innovative SMEs. Now I believe that some of you would be particularly interested in hearing some more details about our segmentation procedure. Our analysis was twofold. First, we have identified SMEs that didn't introduce any innovations from 2015 to 2018, and we call them as zero segment. The rest of the businesses comprised innovative SMEs, and as such they were segmented using latent class analysis, in short LCA. So we singled out 6 segments. Segment 0, as already mentioned, comprised non-innovative SMEs. Then segment 5, a large segment including older firms that perform particularly well as far as economic and environmental goals go, but not necessarily involved in creating and introducing strictly innovative solutions. Then we have segment 3, which represents most companies that received innovation support and introduced innovation prior to 2015. And this segment is also characterized by very well performance. And next segment is segment 4, and it is also highly successful, but its distinctive feature is also that it encompasses small and young firms. And at the end of our list, we have segments 1 and 2, and those are the segments that possess fewer highly distinctive features. However, their variance was sufficient to distinguish them in the analysis. And now at the very end of my presentation, I would like to show you the diagram that presents this method's approach to the problem of matching innovation support measures to particular segments of SMEs. Having identified these segments based on the project data, we were able to examine using the same data which support measure increases the chance that a given segment will achieve a specific goal. Hence, in the SMEthod project, we identified such more or less hypothetical goals or outcomes against which a given innovative project submitted by a business might be considered and evaluated. So we shared them into 3 categories: novelty types, so new to the market, new to the firm, and so on; economic goals, increase in sales revenues, cost reduction, and also environmental and social benefits that deliver societal and environmental benefits. Of course, the details of this methodology contain much more information on this. I would like to thank you for watching this presentation and for listening to me for a while. If you would like to gain more information about the project, please visit the website www.smethod.org. Thank you very much.